So let's plan with the front suspension, because with the coilover mounted up here, I never was able to really use the bump stop and had limited droop. I was also hitting the coil. As you can see, the powder coat's smashed off of it here from hitting the upper control arm as it cambered in during the corner. So we need to get that farther away. And so this is the plan. I have these new brackets cut out. They'll weld just like these ones are to here, but we're relocating the upper mount down and inward. That'll create more space up here as this control arm comes up by quite a bit. And we'll be able to get a little further down in compression to make use of a bump stop. So the first thing I need to do is get all this pulled out, cut these tabs off, and it should be pretty straightforward. Just got to clean up the material and be ready to weld it back in. We're not changing a whole lot, so this should be a pretty simple job. Alright, jumping ahead here, I've got it tacked in, and before it was almost straight out from center up here on this tube. So actually center to center on the shock compared to the other side right now, I've come down an inch in center to center distance, which is pretty much what I was shooting for. Between that inch, that would make up the difference between where the travel O-ring, here I'll push it down so you can see it, that's on the shocks is on the other side, was pushed up to a little bit over an inch from the factory bump stop, which is 1.25 inches long. This bump stop is 2.25 inches long. So I should be getting bump stop engagement roughly an inch before I actually want to completely stop, which it's hard to find specs on these bump stops, so there's a few different lengths. This was the length that I was shooting for, because around an inch of compression, that should come up fairly slow compared to what the wheel travel way out here is going to see. So that when that bump stop starts engaging, it might still have 1.5 to 1.75 inches of compression to do at the wheel, so it should come on fairly gradual and come to a hard stop when I want it to. Had a little bit of porosity in those two tacks because I forgot to turn the gas on right away. So just grind that out of the way to make sure we can get a good weld all the way through. Now I've got the brackets welded in there. I checked the distance between the upper control arm and the spring, and it looks like I've caned just shy of 1/2 inch, maybe 7/16 for sure. So that should help out quite a bit, and then when I put the taller ball joint in, this will come up and therefore in a little bit, but it should still be, by the time it gets up here, we're significantly further in at the top of the shock versus at the center. So that should pay off even more once it gets up to the top as far as how this arm is going to swing in during compression. So all I've got left is wait for this to cool down, clean it off, I can shoot some paint on it and do the same thing to the other side. And for the most part, other than swapping the bump stops out, that's all I'm really planning to change in the front end. And really any other additional changes after that will be after we hit the track and be able to do some tuning, which obviously the rear will be way more significant amount of tuning required there. But this is a good step forward. If everything works out well, I'm hoping front and back I can lower the car some more. that will kind of rely on some other stuff, like I might have to cut the trans tunnel and get the tail of the transmission up a little higher, because that already does hit on the trailer when I go on and off. Worst case scenario, I can still stay at the same ride height where I know I have clearance, and I did all the math on this where it should work out real well. It's just if the camber gain and everything works out the way I'm hoping it will, I should be able to lower the car maybe another 1/2 to an inch and run a little bit stiffer shock setting or change the springs a little bit and whatever. There's plenty of options as far as tuning goes once you get there. The big thing is utilizing a bump stop and making it work the way it's designed to work could really pay off big time, especially in like a high-speed sweeper or like in an autocross where it's kind of a off camber kind of a corner where you're really going to end up loading the outside tire a lot where it's going to see max compression. I know that over at Black River Motorsports Park, I've certainly seen a ton of compression, and going through like Fast 8 down at Heartland also, where I mean it's normally my fender is right at the top of the wheel, might have a little bit of tire overlap, and I know I've compressed far enough to be tucking quite a bit of rim before. So we're trying to work on that situation, and more or less it was something I noticed and wanted to utilize the bump stops for an improvement for next year. Okay, I've got my driver's side coil over here. I need to swap the bump stop out, so we're just gonna go through that. Okay, so you need to take the nut and the top off to pull the bump stop off. We need to be extremely careful not to damage this shaft. So what I did with the other one was I took a bunch of rags and I wrapped them tightly. You get the top loose first. So you take the top off in order to get the bump stop removed, so putting that in the vise so I can crack this loose. Then we can unscrew that. This one went nicer than the other side. The other side jammed, so I had all these rags to wrap tightly around the shaft in order to get enough grip so that I could crack that nut loose. But this one should be a lot easier here now. Oh, we just got to take the nut off. Yeah, see, it likes to spin here. As long as you can get a hold of it. I'm sure there's a special tool that makes a nice clamping block for this that doesn't damage it, but I don't have that. So, take the old bump stop off. So as you see, the big difference here is the height of it, but also it's the amount of stiffness, about how much they squish. Whereas this one, you know, it can deform fairly easy. This one is much more rigid. The first little section here deforms fairly easy. So what this does is it makes it progressive, that as it compresses, this first section will crush first, and then it'll kind of like step up into this middle section and then step up into this top section. So what the goal here is I'm going to be looking at about 1 inch of compression on here, or this is 1.25 inches. So it looks like it'll probably be right up to about here would be full compression, where it's going to smash all of this bump stop into basically the space of the old one. And what we were aiming for is to have that transition from when this engages to when it fully locks up and comes to a stop to be a gradual curve of engagement, so that we can increase the load going to the tire with the bump stop and gradually come up to it, instead of basically smashing right into it, overloading the tire and losing traction. So to install this one, we're going to just slide it onto the shaft. Bump stops typically come in 2 different shaft sizes, at least that I know of. For there's like 9/16 and 5/8 for American stuff. 5/8 is the common one. And then I think there's a few different sizes in metric as well. But all we gotta do is just slip it on, and we can thread this back into our top. And tighten it up. Yeah, it should jam that on there nicely. All the paint marks happen to line back up there, so it's a good sign there. I think on the other side they didn't quite line up, but I mean, it's got enough on there, it's tight. It ain't gonna go anywhere. Oh, and then we can push this up. There'll also be some engagement because this doesn't fit completely around that nut super easy, but it does have a relief area. So that'll actually kind of crush into there, and that'll be a little bit of the initial engagement as well until it seats up against the top eyelet. Now we can just put our take-up spring back on. Put our spring back on. No, we need to keep that bump stop down a little bit there yet so we can get the top retainer on. Alright, now we can just take our top retainer, put it on there, and that's everything reassembled. You can pull this bump stop up. Not that it really matters where it's at on the shaft, because it'll get pushed up when it gets compressed. But you can see it also kind of gets encapsulated by the design of this top there. I mean, with everything not fitting super perfect, it's still, I mean, it's gonna move around and be some take up there. I don't know how important that actually is yet, but I'm just looking for a softer transition because this one never even got close to engaging before, and I was, like I said, I was having suspension parts contact, and the wheel was actually going up into the fender far enough it was rubbing on my inner fender. So hopefully with the relocating of the mounts, moving that down, it'll compress this another inch or so in the way we move that upper. We'll make more clearance to the upper arm so we won't have the actual contact, and hopefully we'll have our bump stops set up to where they will be what comes into a hard contact to stop the wheel from traveling up instead of it hitting the inner fender or anything else. For fine tuning this, I'm only just getting started, so I want to try to just keep it as basic as I can until I can learn more about how to apply it into handling. Alright, now that both sides are finished up with the relocation of the upper brackets for the coilovers, looks like we've gained some nice clearance. I might not even have to modify the upper control arms, because now that it's leaned in, as this arm comes up, it's going to gain more clearance at the top too. Basically now I'm ready to set ride height, but I'm going to wait until I get the 3-link and the rear sorted out, and then set ride height together with that. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you can. The other thing is, if you like the information that I'm going over here, I'm going to continually keep doing a lot of the suspension stuff, especially in the next couple of months on this car, and then until we get to track season, and then we'll be testing it and tuning on all that stuff. So hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around and see all that.